I'm happy for hip hop right now.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy for hip hop, man.
Man.
We talked about this last time, man. You know how y'all should know by now.
You predicted it.
You should know by now.
You predicted that.
How I feel about the competitive nature of hip hop. Hip hop, it's multifaceted. There's many different forms of hip hop. There's artistry. There's a competitive nature of hip hop. There's storytelling. There's all these different things that hip hop encompasses. But one of my favorite things in hip hop is the competitive nature of hip hop. Yep. I want rappers to get that pen working.
Yep.
I need to hear double entendres. Yep. I want to hear. I just want to hear rap, man.
Go deep into the part of your brain that you haven't used before, and go and battle. Yes. Yeah, I love that.
And battle ciphers.
Yeah.
And like I said, I love artistry. I love storytelling. I love deep thought, methodical music. But there's also a part of the art form that I enjoy where rappers come up with schemes and they come up with different types of wordplay. Like that's still a part of the art form to me. It still takes brain power. And I think that there are a lot of MCs that are that are good enough to be able to give you, like how we talk about and how I like substance and I like wordplay. I like a mixture of the artistry, the storytelling, but I also like wordplay. I like rapping. Yeah. I like
the entendres, the quotables.
I like the competitive style, man. I'm still here for the competitive thing. So, last year when we was, that was this year. Oh my God, time.
Yeah,
time.
Yeah, this
time? That was this year. That was back in April.
We this year is flying.
I'm thinking it was last year.
Yeah, it's this year is flying, bro.
When we talked about ciphers, man.
Yeah.
When I was saying that,
that was a few episodes ago. Yeah, it was, man.
Talked about
you predicted that though. You was just like on some hip hop stuff.
I want to see.
You was like, you want to see like people just put some ciphers together, and it seemed like a few weeks later, they've been with the ciphers. We got
it, man. We got it. They did so what kicked this all off? So first of all, shout out to Joey Badass.
Yep,
man.
Shout out Joey.
Joey Badass is the first rapper that I met that we did a meet and greet with for the Before the Money concert.
That was my first meet and greet.
That was my first meet and
greet. Oh, snap, that's crazy.
The first artist that I met, and real down to earth, cool dude, man. And shout out to Joey too, because the era that he came in, he was my favorite artist in the era.
In that era,
with all of the new rappers that were coming in at around his time. He was one of my favorites. Joey Badass was one of my favorites. 1999, Summer Nights. Those projects bring me back to a certain time in my life where I'm like, yeah, man, this was when times were good.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like when those mixtapes was coming out, that was coming out in a hard part of my life where I felt like we was just getting started in life. Like we was like kind of like getting fresh out of high school. Then we was trying to kind of figure out life.
And I felt real job.
Yeah, and I feel like Joey's music was low key like the soundtrack.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Facts. Of that time.
Oh yeah.
That was such a crazy time because I felt like that was like when we was trying to figure life out and we was just. And Joey was bursting on the scene.
Yeah.
So I felt like that's very nostalgic. When I hear Joey, it takes me to a time in life we was trying to figure life out.
Yeah, man.
I feel like that the music at that time, the music he was dropping was such a release.
Yeah.
Because life was kind of hard when you trying to fit 19, 20.
I feel like this is dope.
You know what I'm saying?
We have the opportunity because we can give Joey Badass his flowers right now.
Absolutely.
But I want to shout out to Joey. I just got to hit this real quick. Got to hit this drop.
Yeah.
To me, it's just one Joey that's badass. To me, it's just one Joey that's badass. To me, it's just one Joey that's badass.
I gotta play that because so that came from Joe Budden's Control Verse whenever he was responding to Kendrick's Control Verse, and when Joe Budden said that, I was like, all right, there's somebody out here that's because even though it was a flip, to me it's just one Joey that's badass.
Yeah,
obviously he's talking about
himself.
He's talking about himself, but just the Joey Badass shout out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was so dope to me on that, and then the next lines after that was crazy.
Yeah,
but I just wanted to play that because shout out to Joey Badass because he's been here and he's been
doing his.
He's one of them ones, man.
He's been doing his thing.
He's one of them ones. He has classic mixtapes and it's funny that you say his music was the soundtrack back then because it was. Yep. And I just remember hearing it for the first time and just being like, who is this?
It was refreshing, bro.
Refreshing. It was hip hop. And I was like, who is this young kid that's rapping over MF Doom production?
Yeah.
Like, he had beats from MF Doom.
Yeah, he was locked in, bro.
He was rapping over Dilla beats.
Yep. 1999, he was locked in.
Yeah.
He was locked in.
Yeah, man.
He was 17.
Yeah, man. 17.
Locked in.
It's not to compare him to Nas, but like, you know, when Nas dropped Illmatic, Nas was 17. So it was just refreshing to hear this young kid that was rapping, talking about the things that he was talking about. He was super
the streets of New York.
Super lyrical, super conscious, and he had a collective, you know, man. Pro Era.
Man, what a time.
Shout out to all the Pro Era guys, man. Rest in peace to Capital Steez, Nick Caution, Kirk Knight, CJ Fly. Shout out to the whole.
They were so incredible.
The whole Pro Era, man. They really put like young New York lyricists on the map, because, you know,
absolutely,
the South came in, they crushed everything, and then New York kind of didn't really have a sound for a while. And I feel like Joey Badass kind of revived it a little bit. But
absolutely.